Using technology to make the legal industry more accessible with Ouriel Lemmel, episode 236. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the firm differentiator 10x effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another amazing guest interview here on the Profit with Law podcast. I'm your host, Moshe Amsel, and my guest today is it's interesting how I came across him. So this rarely happens. Usually it's connections within my work community, but this time it was my daughter forwarded me an article that her college had highlighted this gentleman in this article. And because it was legal related and entrepreneur related, she thought that it might catch my attention. And indeed it did. So thank you, Goldie, for doing that for us. But she introduced me to this gentleman, Ouriel Lemmel, who is the CEO of WinIt. And WinIt is a technology company that helps drivers with traffic tickets learn about traffic defense and get traffic defense. And I'm really excited to dive into this conversation with him because we cannot live in a vacuum and assume that technology is not going to be a massive tool in the legal industry. And the quicker that attorneys are to adopting technology, to recognizing its powers and its capabilities and using it to their advantage, the faster that you're going to be able to grow. And the more that you are resistant to it, the more that you push against it, the harder it's going to be for you to grow in the long run. So one of the things, I mean, like when Legal Shield came out, which is a multi-level marketing company that does legal representation for people, or when what's the one that does business formations for people? What is it? LegalZoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, LegalZoom. So LegalZoom came out. So many attorneys felt threatened by it. Even accountants felt threatened by it. But the reality is that these technology companies are doing a massive service to you because they're eliminating so much of the conversation that needs to be had up front. They're allowing the people who could solve their problem without legal representation to do so, which it sounds like it's cutting into your business, but the reality is it's making room for the people who really need you, for the people who need more complexity, for it's allowing you to use these companies as marketing tools for yourself to get those people in the door because, hey, are you more confused now that you use LegalZoom and trying to figure out what is the right entity for you? Well, then maybe it's time for us to have a conversation. And that's really why I'm excited about this conversation, is because it's not often that we get to have somebody who is both helping the legal industry and also polarizing it at the same time. And it all depends on which viewpoint you take. And that's why I'm excited to have Ouriel here on the show with us. So I'm just going to take a moment, cue to some words from our sponsors, give them some love, check out their stuff. We'll be right back with the interview. Finding amazing employees is the toughest job for any business, and especially for a law firm. You deserve to be the law firm owner you've always wanted to be, but you can't get there without a great team. Get Staffed Up helps you build your all-star team by staffing your law firm with incredible full-time offshore virtual assistants. Work with Get Staffed Up to save money and your biggest resource, time, while they find you the best English-speaking VAs in the world. Hashtag delegate your way to freedom. To learn more, go to profitwithlaw.com/get staffed up. profitwithlaw.com/get staffed up. Thanks to our sponsor, Smith AI. Smith AI is a superior virtual receptionist service for small businesses. They specialize in working with solo and small law firms. I discovered Smith AI a couple of years ago and was blown away by the range of services, which are available at a cost any attorney, even those of you in the smallest solo practice, can afford. Their friendly receptionists respond to potential clients in English or Spanish, screen and schedule new leads, and even take payment for consults. The best part is, they don't just handle these conversations by phone. They also have live agents and chatbots capturing leads on websites and via text message. If there's one growth hack to your practice, this is it. Smith's friendly gatekeepers can staff your front lines. They'll capture new leads while you work uninterrupted. You can finally have the peace of mind that while you're working, you're not missing out on future work. Plans start at just $210 a month for calls and $140 a month for chats. They even offer a totally free chatbot, so there's no excuse. Try Smith AI today and see for yourself why attorneys like Justy Nickel in Colorado say Smith AI receptionists are the secret to business growth and client happiness. Smith AI offers a free trial, and podcast listeners can get an extra $100 discount with promo code ProfitLaw100. That's ProfitLaw100. Sign up and learn more at www.smith.ai. Trust me when I say, don't let another day go by. Try Smith AI. All right, and we're back. Ouriel, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Moshe. Great to be here.
So, you got quite the intro there, but people want to know who you are, what's your background, how'd you fall into this? So, give us the broad strokes and let everybody know who's listening who you are as an individual and how you stepped into this business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Paris, France. Always wanted to come to the US since my early teenage years. Came here when I was 17. I studied here. I worked in startups, and about a few years ago, I was driving in New York City, and very hard to avoid getting tickets here. And that's really where I realized the pain of handling tickets, disputing them, managing them, or paying them. And that's really how the idea of WinIt came, where we realized, okay, there's a real need. There are a lot of drivers that are being affected by that. And we created a solution to really tackle that issue that drivers will eventually come across in their lifetime.
Okay, so you created a piece of technology, but what does it actually do? So say I get a ticket and now I'm trying to figure out what to do. Walk me through the path. I go into Google and I type in, how do I fight my traffic ticket? What happens next?
Right. So we started WinIt. Right now, we mostly focused on tickets. So, you have two kinds of tickets, parking tickets and traffic tickets, and they work a bit differently. So for instance, for parking tickets, what will happen is that we'll usually get your license plate information. And with that, we'll pull all your tickets directly from the official, public databases. So we make it very easy for you as a driver. You don't need to have the physical copy of your ticket. You just need to have your license plate, and using that, we'll check your open ticket. So on the user front, it's relatively easy. You scan your license plate, we show you your tickets, and then you can fight them literally in a few clicks. We'll give you the opportunity to add evidence if you have any, and based on the category of your ticket, we'll help you understand which evidence should help with your case. And when you're done, that's pretty much it. Everything else is handled by us in the back. We'll, generate a report using, legal databases, map databases, and we've processed over 800,000 tickets to date. So especially, with our data, we now understand better what works and what doesn't in front of judges. But all of that is done in the back, and our technology is generating all of this so that we can then present these in front of judges to get the best result on your ticket. If we're able to win it, you only pay us half of what you would have paid to the city. Otherwise, you can just pay the same amount that you originally owed through the app. So again, we make it very simple. And another great feature we have there is the auto dispute feature, where, generally, especially with parking tickets, it's hard to keep track of them, and it might fly off the windshield, and you might get penalties. With our system, or with our monitoring system that we offer for free, using your plate will regularly check the databases and keep you updated when you have a new ticket. So that's really something that our drivers love and has helped them a lot to date. So that's for parking tickets. Then we also obviously fight traffic tickets that work a bit differently. Obviously, the impact of a traffic ticket is much more important. You typically have points. Paying your traffic ticket is generally the worst thing that you want to do, because paying a traffic ticket is usually an admission of guilt. So that means that you will have the points on your record, your license might be at risk, and your insurance will typically go up as well. Unfortunately, very few drivers know that, and that's one thing we're working on a lot, is really educating drivers about their rights and how tickets work and the impact of a ticket. And then, so let's say you get a traffic ticket, you're speeding a little bit above the limit. You'll go through our app and you'll very easily be able to hire an experienced attorney in the right area where you get your ticket, so that he can represent you in court and obviously hopefully get the best possible outcome on that ticket.
This is all, I mean, this is pretty, what's interesting or even mind-boggling is the simplicity of, coming at it from when you come at it from a technology perspective, you say, how do I solve this problem for people? You really start looking at what do people want? How do they want it addressed? And you think of the typical law firm where you might have to go through a consult, you might have to go through multiple conversations just to be able to retain an attorney to go and take care of this for you, where you're probably tempted to just go ahead and pay the ticket, at least with a parking ticket, but without getting representation. And even a moving violation, that temptation is there. So this is kind of, it's not just streamlining the process, but it's also allowing people to have another option that they wouldn't have had otherwise, because just their assumption of how complicated it was going to be would have been a barrier to entry. So it's very interesting. One thing that immediately popped up to me in questioning how this works, are you in a very specific metropolitan area? Like, is this just in New York City because that's where you started, or do you cover other areas? Because I'm assuming that not every municipality has their parking tickets readily available on the internet, right? So my assumption is that you're only in certain areas.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Right now, we are in multiple states, and the goal is really to be nationwide very soon. We started in New York City. New York City has a lot of tickets, but we're definitely rapidly expanding to other states, and it's really great to see. Generally, users are very happy about the product that we offer them, and the reality, as you were saying, is that we're really helping both attorneys and clients, right? Because attorneys now have more time to spend on what they do best, which is really going to court and winning cases. They're not usually trained to be marketing experts or technology experts. So we take care of that for them, so they can obviously focus on what they know how to do best, and usually get more volume. So they're happy, and clients, the consumer obviously are happier because they have a clear brand that they can trust, that will guide them through the steps and the process. And as you said, you don't have, you can hire an attorney literally in less than 2 minutes through the app, and it's very clearly laid out. So it's really a win-win situation on both fronts, both on the legal side and on the consumer side. So yeah, it's really encouraging, especially now, with COVID, it grew even more because people realize, that these kind of technologies are here to stay. And they're really, again, helping both the attorneys and the consumers. And it's great to see that we have so many of them that are really embracing technology and understanding that technology is going to help them grow.
So are the parking tickets being fought by attorneys as well, or is that just something that goes out in the mail and you're able to do a defense for them without having an attorney involved at all? Is it just the moving violations that they're getting paired with an attorney? How does that work?
Finding amazing employees is the toughest job for any business, and especially for a law firm. You deserve to be the law firm owner you've always wanted to be, but you can't get there without a great team. Get Staffed Up helps you build your all-star team by staffing your law firm with incredible full-time offshore virtual assistants. Work with Get Staffed Up to save money and your biggest resource, time, while they find you the best English-speaking VAs in the world. Hashtag delegate your way to freedom. To learn more, go to profitwithlaw.com/get staffed up. profitwithlaw.com/get staffed up. Thanks to our sponsor, Smith AI. Smith AI is a superior virtual receptionist service for small businesses. They specialize in working with solo and small law firms. I discovered Smith AI a couple of years ago and was blown away by the range of services, which are available at a cost any attorney, even those of you in the smallest solo practice, can't afford. Their friendly receptionists respond to potential clients in English or Spanish, screen and schedule new leads, and even take payment for consults. The best part is, they don't just handle these conversations by phone. They also have live agents and chatbots capturing leads on websites and via text message. If there's one growth hack to your practice, this is it. Smith's friendly gatekeepers can staff your front lines. They'll capture new leads while you work uninterrupted. You can finally have the peace of mind that while you're working, you're not missing out on future work. Plans start at just $210 a month for calls and $140 a month for chats. They even offer a totally free chatbot, so there's no excuse. Try Smith AI today and see for yourself why attorneys like Justy Nickel in Colorado say Smith AI receptionists are the secret to business growth and client happiness. Smith AI offers a free trial, and podcast listeners can get an extra $100 discount with promo code ProfitLaw100. That's ProfitLaw100. Sign up and learn more at www.smith.ai. Trust me when I say, don't let another day go by. Try Smith AI.
Yeah, so on the parking front, it's a bit different, but we do work with former judges that actually used to be judges, on the parking tickets, former police officers. So really with the goal to maximize the chances for our users. So what we've offered is kind of a tech-enabled service where we're matching people with real problems with motivated experts who can solve them, right? And we're not taking the full AI route, like you can just use the AI and you don't need anyone. That's not our approach, and I think part of our success has been linked to that, where we understand that at the end of the process you need to have this expert who understands that process and has been doing this for a while, the last 5-10%, but technology can really help you go much faster and optimize the process along the way. So that's really what we're doing for both parking and traffic tickets, and it's working again very hard because having optimized process helps everyone with pricing, obviously, and having for the attorneys it's easier because they again have more time to work on legal elements, and users can submit tickets much faster. So it's really again a win-win for everyone there.
Awesome. So Ouriel, on the pricing front, you had quickly mentioned that the way that you structure your fees is that you charge them 50% of what the fine would have been had they been found guilty. And if they are found guilty and they have to pay the fine, then they can pay it through you. Does that mean that if you don't win the case for them, then you get zero? Is that the structure?
Right. So that's how it works for parking tickets, where you only pay us if we win. For traffic tickets, you pay an upfront fee to hire an attorney. And again, usually, you will have very, very competitive prices on the app to hire that attorney. And in some jurisdictions, there are options to offer the same kind of option, where if you're not able to get any kind of reduction on your ticket, you will get your money back. Yeah.
So if you need an attorney for this, and you're entering all these states, you're going nationwide, how do you manage the relationships with the law firms that want to get those cases, that want to handle that for you? How do you find them, and then how do you also ensure quality?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously attorneys can reach out to us, and our team will handle like all the inbound inquiries. We've also created technology to really help the attorneys, like an attorney portal where they can easily onboard and join our platform, understand how it's going to work, and then once they're onboarded, access their case, communicate with clients, access their calendars. So we make it very easy for them, so that the whole process, we're not sending leads to attorney at all. Like, we're really, once a client pays and sees the attorney that he's going to hire and signs electronically the retention letter, once all of this is done, then the attorney gets a notification that the client has effectively hired this attorney, and they can start working on the case and communicate with the client if needed. So, again, for attorneys, there's obviously no upfront cost for attorneys. So there is really, for them, it's really just a tool to get more revenue and really help them with their process, because they can also use our technology for their other cases. And sometimes we found that a lot of these kind of attorneys don't necessarily have huge offices. They're like a few people shop, and having technology really helps them be more efficient at their job, and we're very happy to help them with that.
Right. Yeah. With traffic tickets, it's a very high volume, low low revenue per case business, and the key to success is having enough volume coming through and being able to be efficient with how you produce the work. So
Right.
yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. So law firms are always struggling with marketing and getting leads through the door and stuff like that. What is attracting people to WinIt? Are you ranking in SEO at the top? Do you have, are you doing some sort of advertising strategy that's getting you up there? Like, what is driving the people to find WinIt in this process of getting a ticket and handling it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think, again, technology is a key element to it. Having a very good working website, a good working app, where that you're constantly improving, getting feedback from users is key. And then you may have to make sure your product works. So when you have the right attorneys on the platform that are on top of their cases, that win cases for drivers, people talk. When I remember the first time I disputed my parking ticket, a friend of mine did it for me, and I got the result. I was really, really pleasantly surprised. Like, you get this great feeling. Okay, I won, and you talk to all your friends about it. So that, I think, has been also a very helping factors, where when you have a product that works and delivers, you'll get organic growth that really helps with that.
Got it. Yeah, it makes 100% sense. And honestly, like, that's, most attorneys are building their business through referrals. It's a slow business, but I guess in a high volume, and a slow way to grow your business, but in a high volume practice, you've got a lot of people, marching at beating your drum. Did you decide to perhaps have salespeople go to companies that have a lot of trucks, like let's say in New York City, and sell the business on a higher level to maybe to like UPS or FedEx, or their trucks are getting tickets all the time in the city, and maybe they have somebody in-house that handles it, but I can only imagine having this process that monitors all those plates and automatically takes care of the defense would probably be something that would be very useful to them. And I don't know if they get involved with moving violations with their drivers, but even that, just to provide the resource and have an end. Is that something that you've looked at?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, our user base is extremely diverse. I know we have plates actually from all the 50 states, including Hawaii and Alaska. So people, from all over the countries are using our app. And then, the kind of users that we have, we go from the everyday driver who's driving to work or dropping kids to school, to, florists or real estate agents, and, truck companies, electricians, all kind of different size. They all see a value in our product and the service that we're offering them.
Awesome. So what is the temperature or the feeling with attorneys? I mean, if you're offering the best rates that somebody can find, or probably close to the best rates that somebody can find, then you can't possibly be paying an attorney more than they would be charging, right? So obviously you're finding the client, you're lining up the business for them. There's nothing for them to do other than to show up in court. So I see the value there, but what does that do for the fee that they're collecting? You have to make money too on your platform, so they're clearly not going to get what you're collecting. They're getting a piece of that. Are the attorneys very happy with what they're getting paid? How do you structure that payment to them? Is it simply a percentage of something, of what you collect? How do you work that?
Yeah, so attorneys are really in charge of the pricing, so they tell us how much they want to charge, and based then they can adopt. They can say, okay, now if I charge this price, I'm going to see what volume I have, and then they change the price and they see they have more volume, so they can then adjust it and see what makes sense for them. For us, it's very important that the attorneys on our platform are happy and are making money, but often we found that they're smart people and they realize that it's a volume business. So by adjusting their price to be competitive, they get more business. So it really varies. Some attorneys prefer to keep higher price. They control that fully, and some have more attractive prices. And it's interesting because sometimes, you're gonna have drivers that will pay for the premium because they see a choice of attorney, and that's really their choice. But overall, again, like attorneys are very happy about using it because it makes sense for them business wise.
Very interesting. All right. So if we have any attorneys that are listening to this that might want to get more information on how they can become a WinIt affiliated attorney, where should they go? What's the process they should follow to explore that?
Yeah, sure. So we have a contact page on our website, winitnow.com. They can just hit there, and there is a section for traffic attorneys, and they can fill out a simple form there, and someone will be in touch with them.
Awesome. Ouriel, this has been extremely interesting. Is there anything that we should have discussed that we didn't discuss that attorneys who are listening to this podcast episode might be interested in, or questions I may not have asked you that have come up in your conversations with attorneys around the product? I mean, it's been really an eye-opener for me into what's available, what's out there. Talk about the word of mouth. I'm going to go to my brother-in-law and share this conversation with him because he's got a fleet of vehicles that are constantly traveling, across the U.S. and it would definitely be a good product for him if he doesn't know about it already.
Right. I mean, I think this has been great. As I said, we started. We're a bootstrap business, so we never raised the outside capital. So we've always been very, very busy, and we're barely scratching the surface of what we can do. But really, we're also seeing opportunities in other angles where we can apply the same kind of philosophy, where we again matching people with legal problems together with experts, right? So that is going to be using the same technology that we have, and obviously attorneys will be using the platform, and it's going to be catered to our users. So we're not there yet, but we're very excited to keep on working hard to really again help all these people that have issues that today are not tackling just because there's not an easy way or a cost-effective way for them to access to justice. So that's what we're going to be working on as well.
Do you think that attorneys, I know I'm wrapping up the conversation, but here I go with another question. Do you think that attorneys should be thinking along the lines of positioning themselves as a technology company as they grow, as the landscape changes? Is that something that they should be looking at? I mean, I at least for specific areas, I mean, I just think about like bankruptcy law, right? There's so much that needs to be gathered as far as information from the client. And I could definitely see ways that you can, have somebody input some pieces of information to determine whether they're eligible for a Chapter 7 or they have to go for a Chapter 13, and what's the process, like get all of that stuff out of the way, and then help them peer them with an attorney, and then use that software in that compilation process. Is that where do you think lawyers, owners of law firms should be looking at that and saying, hey, maybe I should create my own app?
Right. No, I think it's very good point, and I'm sure you've been following it. The legal tech space has been booming in the past few years, and I think most lawyers understand that technology again is here and is transforming lives. Most aspects of our life has been transformed or will be transformed by technology. So I think lawyers typically understand that. I think I can bet that if you take most of the top law firms probably have some kind of people from their team working on that. I think again, attorneys are very skilled individuals, and I don't think the profession is going to go away at all. I think again, it's there's a lot of adjustments that can be made. As you said, technology can help you with a lot of previous tedious processes that used to take a lot of time, and these days we're creating tools that will change their job, and I think will make it more interesting, because it's going to be more about things that the machine cannot do that will take their time, versus going through repetitive tasks that will be easily handled to technology.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, awesome. I really appreciate your time and sharing this, how the inner workings of a technology company that is enhancing legal services and really providing, honestly, like, I think the biggest takeaway from this is that you're providing access to justice to people who would never have gone to get that in the first place. It's a low ticket item. It's something that it's, sometimes just easier to pay it, as much as frustrating as it is. And as much as, often people are not even guilty as charged, like it's just somebody slapped a parking ticket on my car, and now I'm stuck with this fine. And where do I go and how do I resolve it? I really think that, and I don't know how much you follow the inner workings of the legal industry at large, but the Clio puts out a legal trends report. And in last year's legal trends report, one of the big issues that they highlighted was this access to justice, and how, the average American family can afford a total of $400 of legal services. And, wow. And most legal services cost 10 times that, right? So, and you even think about just a simple ticket defense, where your ticket's $400, right? So am I going to spend $400 or more to try to save $400? No, it doesn't make any sense. So, having a solution that's able to get that resolved for a fraction of what it would cost me to just go ahead and pay the ticket, is a huge service to the legal community at large, because ultimately that's what we want. Is we want everybody to be able to access legal services at the level that they can afford. So really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll just add to that, just on your example, again, like you said, $400. Often what people don't realize is that paying it will cost them more than $400, because the insurance will increase. So that's one. And also, back to what you were saying, especially, during COVID, we realized, the importance of our service, both again for the consumers and for the attorneys. We're serving a lot of people, from underserved communities, people that don't necessarily have a lot of money, and having this access to justice at a normal price was really helpful for them, and also for attorneys, because they had much less traffic during these times, and we're really, for some of them, we helped them stay in business just because of the number of cases we're able to bring them during this time. So it was very, very encouraging to see that we're really making an impact both for drivers, consumers, and attorneys as well during tough times.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Where can people go to find out more about you, to get in touch with you if they have questions, anything like that? I know that you shared your website before. Is that the best place?
Yeah, winitnow.com, and they can download the app WinIt, WINIT, on the iOS and Android store.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And folks, we're going to link that up in the show notes. So just go to profitwithlaw.com or just look at the description in your podcast player. You'll see all of the URLs that were mentioned here listed, and you can go there and check it out for yourself. Download the app on your phone. You never know when you might get a parking ticket and just need to use it for yourself or a moving violation. But if traffic ticket defense is something that you want to get involved in, definitely reach out to the WinIt team and see if that's something that you can align with them to have the business in your area being sent to you so you can represent their clients. And if this is your first time listening to the podcast and you really enjoyed this interview, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Just click the subscribe button in your podcast player. You'll be notified every time we release a new episode. We're here twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday is my solo day. It's just me behind the microphone sharing whatever's on my mind at the time. Thursday is a guest interview. We bring amazing guests just like Ouriel, as well as anybody else that you've already heard on the podcast. And finally, if you really enjoyed this episode, think that it could be useful to somebody that you know, share this specific episode with them, let them know, tell them to go listen to it. And that's how our community grows. We love having you here. Have a great day, great weekend, and we'll catch you on Tuesday. Take care.
That's it for this week's episode of Profit with Law. If you have enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with at least one person. Imagine how many lives we can change if we each shared this episode. Another way to share the episode is on social media. We appreciate your support and look forward to you joining us again next week.